Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, and my lovers of rural drama, before we begin today's discussion, I have a few questions for all of you. First of all, how do the English and the Scottish share the same throne despite being two independent nations? How did England's infamous wife executor, King Henry VIII, shape the destiny of his daughters? And why does James VI of Scotland go down in history as James I of England? Well, these aren't just any historical quirks. They are the very threads that weave the intricate tapestry of one of the greatest rivalry in the Western history. The rivalry of Elizabeth Tudor versus Mary Queen of Scots. Let's begin with Elizabeth Tudor, aka Elizabeth I. Brilliant, tactical, but as commitment phobic as they come. Born to King Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, Elizabeth's childhood was a series of unfortunate events. Her mother was beheaded before Elizabeth could even turn 3. She was declared illegitimate and was shuffled around like an unwanted Christmas gift. But what did she do? She rose like a phoenix from the ashes of political chaos and became one of England's greatest monarchs till date. Because you know what she believed? No husband, no problem. Who needs a man when you can have absolute power? Her reign ushered in what is known as the Golden Age of England. She saw the establishment of the East India Company, the rise of Shakespeare, and the expansion of the English Renaissance. She was also successful in bagging the title of Virgin Queen. Unlike her sister, Mary I of England, who earned a far less flattering title. Any guesses? Bloody Mary. While Elizabeth ruled with prudence and compromise, Mary's reign was marked by her harsh persecution of the Protestants, causing her to earn a fearsome reputation and causing many to flee England in what later became known as the Marian exile. Then we have Mary Stuart, charming, romantic, and far more accomplished than she is often given credit for. Born in 1542, she became the Queen of Scotland at just 6 years old. Can you imagine that? Being burdened with ruling a country before you even take your first steps. By the age of 5, she was sent to the luxurious French court where she was educated, refined, and prepared for her role both as the future Queen of France and the Queen of Scotland. She was also highly skilled in languages, poetry, music, and literature. Qualities that make one popular, but not necessarily powerful. So, I ask you this question. Who is the better queen? Is the better queen one who rules with careful calculation, or the one who is the main character of the most dramatic reality show of the 16th century? Mary Queen of Scots and Elizabeth Tudor both had different strategies. Elizabeth, ever the chess master, played the lifelong game of keep Mary at bay. She outwitted ministers, avoided marriage proposals like a pro, and even turned down Robert Dudley, her childhood friend and suspected love interest. Mary, on the other hand, Mary married, remarried, and made some rather regrettable decisions. She was someone who strengthened the Franco-Scottish relations through her first marriage with Francis II of France. However, her decisions of marrying James Hepburn, the Earl of Bothwell, and Lord Dudley ultimately led to her downfall. So here we come to the £1,000,000 question. Who was the better queen? Elizabeth ruled with careful caution and strategy. However, Mary's decision of marrying Lord Darnley, who later became a liability, led on to further political instability and scandal. One fun fact about Lord Darnley. Lord Darnley's murder in 1567 remains one of Scotland's greatest unsolved mysteries. He was found strangled outside his exploded house, because apparently one method of murder wasn't enough. Mary's quick marriage to the primary subject, James Hepburn, the Earl of Bothwell, only fueled rumors about her involvement and later caused further political instability, ultimately causing her downfall. Elizabeth gave England stability. She was successful in defeating the Spanish Armada and reigned for 44 years. However, she was also successful in making sure that the nation was fueled with national pride and artistic prosperity. She did have to navigate through the treacherous court politics and avoid assassinations. Mary, on the other hand, well, Mary had to navigate a political minefield, and she spent most of her life dodging assassinations and escaping prisons. So, up until the story so far, how many of you believe who was the better queen, Elizabeth or Mary? For Elizabeth, anyone? All right. For Mary, Queen of Scots? All right, that's good to know. So, see, how does this become relevant in today's history? The echoes of this royal rivalry are still found to be rippling through the present current affairs. So you might have seen the Scottish and the English bickering like siblings. Have anyone noticed that? Well, now you know. This can be traced back to these two formidable queens. There are also debates about the Scottish independence and the British identity. This as well is given credit for Mary, Queen of Scots, and Elizabeth Tudor. Elizabeth was the icy strategist who ruled with careful caution and calculation. Mary, however, was a hopeful queen whose vision for a united Britain was ultimately undone by political betrayal and political missteps. So, is the great queen one who secures her throne with careful caution and calculation, or the one who lives boldly, loves recklessly, and leaves behind a legacy that is worthy of every history book? The answer to this question may vary. However, one thing is for certain. History would be a lot less interesting without them. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is your first speaker signing off. Thank you.